Wow. This was a tough week for me. It was a tough week. It's Friday, July 22. 22. Isn't that a cool day? It's July 22 in 2022. Anyways, I just realized that random thoughts keep coming up like this. This episode will drop next week. And I have been procrastinating recording this episode and thinking about what I want to dive into with you around the energy of your launches. And this is going to be a bigger conversation about energy and capacity, because honestly, that is what I have been going through. And it is so tremendously important, as personal brands, as coaches, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs. Your capacity, your energy is your biggest asset. It is your biggest asset, and your business, your brand, your clients really rely on you to be able to have the capacity to show up and be able to deliver your promises, to be able to deliver running your business, you to be able to do your work. And the thing is, if you don't have the capacity to show up, if you've set up your business in a way that relies on you 100% and then you don't have the capacity, it literally stops you from being able to do anything. It stalls your growth, it stalls your progress, it stalls your ability to make money. Like, this is big. This is really, really big. And if you are listening to this podcast, if you've been tuning in, I'm sure that you're an entrepreneur who wants to scale, who wants big things. This is called Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. This is episode 9. I've been talking a lot about launches and making it a vibe and making it easy and fun and really bringing that experience. And again, to be able to do that, it requires your capacity, and to be able to scale your business to 6 figures and then multiple 6 figures, it requires your capacity. And as I have been going through what I've been going through these past weeks with my separation, with dismantling and ending 16 years of my life and closing a massive chapter in my life and restarting, I have realized how many things I still do at this level that require me to do them, me to show up for them. And I have a ton of automation in place. I've hit the easy button wherever I could, and it helped me build my business to 6 figures. But now I am not in that phase anymore. I'm not in that startup phase anymore. I'm in a scaling phase. I am going for multiple 6 figures. I am making changes, and I waited too long to bringing in a team. That is what I really realized. I waited too long to bring in a team, and that really hit home this week, as I found myself a couple of times in like major anxiety on the floor, crying. Like yesterday, Thursday, I had a massive breakdown, and I wasn't able to do anything. I literally wasn't able to do anything, and I needed to tend to my healing. And that is so important right now for me, is my healing. It's bringing in a team so that everything runs smoother, so that there's pieces that are taken care of by the team, so that I don't have to be the CEO, the coach, the social media manager, the graphic designer, the operations manager, the everything. And I had already brought in a VA 10 hours a week, and it felt like enough, but truthfully, it wasn't quite enough yet. It wasn't quite enough yet. And as I am moving through all this personally, another big realization that came through was just that I want to have more space, and I require more space in my life to be able to really have my creativity be in its prime, have my inspiration flow freely. Like, there's got to be space and time in my calendar, and the only way to create that, the only way to do that, is by actually bringing in a team. So I wanted to start this conversation here so that you all have an idea of where I am at right now, and why your energy is truly the thing that ultimately matters. Because the way you show up in your business, if you are a personal brand, it really requires you to have the capacity. And even with a team, even with people coming on board, even when you have a lot of the places, pieces that you can give to other people, even if you have the systems, you and your ability to show up is still going to be a really big part of that, And as you're scaling, it's really about becoming more and more crafty and resourceful on how you are able to really be showing up with powerful intention, and how you can make sure that you can create marketing campaigns and pieces and launch processes and all that stuff that doesn't require your all attention, your fullness. Like, it really comes down to having pieces taken care of, whether that's with automation or whether that's with a team. Right? It really is going to be coming down to that. And it's also owning your zone of genius and owning the pieces that you're really good at. But your energy really is everything. Your energy is everything. And I promised you that I'm tying this into the launch process, and I'm going to go there now. And I'm going to give you the example of one of a client that I've recently started working with. I'm actually testing a new program out with her, which is amazing. She came in to be like a beta test person for me, which is amazing, because I wanted to see what the flow is. I wanted to get feedback on all of it as I'm building this new offer. And it's actually an offer where I am creating your launch, a custom launch for you. So I literally get in your brain, I find out about your offer, your plans, what you like, what you don't like, what aligns with you, your general process, your goal. And then I come up with a custom launch plan for you, which is based on the vibe method, which I'm teaching inside Launched. And when this episode drops, it is literally like the last couple of days where you can drop in at pre-sale for Launched at 50%, where I teach you everything that you need to know to take your program from idea to fully launched in 10 days. But with this VIP offer, with this custom offer, I create a custom launch plan for you, a custom strategy for you. And then I deliver that strategy to you with all the detail about program, messaging, when to do what, like all these things on all the phases of your launch. And then I actually am there for you throughout your launch to give you the energetic support, to make sure that we see what works, what doesn't, to give you feedback, to share ideas. So I actually, throughout the launch, will keep an eye on your content. I will pick little things up. I will share with you something that resonated that I believe could be really valuable. And I'm there to hold you energetically. I'm there to support you to be in that vibe and to remain plugged in and really continue to move through with this excitement and with the experience that you desire to have through that launch. And the coolest thing that happened just the other day, and it was hearing from her how invaluable it has been to have a plan, to have this plan, to be able to go to this document, to be able to go to this place and be like, oh yeah, right, this is what I'm doing, to have been prepared, and to have her say that this is the most excited, relaxed experience of a launch that she's ever had. And that energetically, she's never been in so much trust and in so much like just feeling good and in this creation mode throughout the launch. And in fact, it's like engaged, like it's inspired her to create more content, to be more active, to connect with her community. Like, it's been so cool to watch, and it's all came from being held in this structure. So what I shared with you, the content strategy last week and the vibe method the week before, now we're bringing this energetic piece in. When you have these pieces in place, when you have a plan, when you have a strategy to hold you, your energy gets to be clean. You get to show up really in the state of receiving, because you have the capacity to be receiving. You have the capacity to be taking yourself through this launch. You have the capacity to welcome the clients. Whereas if your launches feel hard, if your energy is off, if you're worried, if you're doubting, if you're wondering constantly if you're doing enough, if you're stressing, if payment links aren't set up, if sales pages aren't set up, if you lack clarity, you show up with a lack of confidence. This is an energy. You show up and you don't have the capacity to actually welcome anyone because you're so stressed out of your mind and so overwhelmed with just showing up, right? You show up with a lack of clarity, a lack of confidence, and a lack of the energetic capacity to actually hold space for all these clients that you're asking to come in. So guess what happens? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So energetically, from a physical capacity standpoint, from having space in your calendar to actually serve the clients that are coming in, having mental capacity to be able to bring in your ideas and your creativity in the way that you do, or coach them in the way that you do, to be able to actually deliver the promise, to help them get results, to be able to show up the way you desire to, that will give them the experience that you promised through the launch. And then in your program, you have got to be having capacity. You have got to have clean energy. You have got to prioritize you. You have got to be able to show up in the full experience and at your best, not at your worst. And one thing that's always struck me, and this is something that I wrote in my book as well, and that I've had many times, is that you want to give the world the best of you, not what's left of you. And you want to give yourself the best of you, not what's left of you. So if we're always operating over capacity, if we're not prioritizing our energy, if we're not tending to the inner work, the spiritual connection, our bodies, our well-being, if that's always the last thing on our priority list, then when we run our business, we ultimately going to become the bottleneck in our business. We ultimately going to become the problem, because we physically, literally are not able to take on more. And through a launch, we're physically, literally are struggling to pull ourselves into creating the content, into talking about our offer, into showing up, into sending messages, like whatever the additional processes that you're using to launch your offers, and it will fall flat. People can sense it. People can sense it. And as I have been realizing that I have a capacity issue, that I've really been, my business has been relying on me to be at my best all the time, and I haven't been prioritizing that at times. Even though I do a lot, I haven't been prioritizing it at times. And I will dive into this in another episode, but I've realized that the way I was building my business gave me an opportunity to escape from my life. It gave me an opportunity to escape from my life, and my business became a source of happiness and a source of joy and a source of fulfillment and purpose. And it is all that. But in the process of that, I created it like that. And now that I don't have a reason to escape from my life anymore, it's not congruent anymore with that vision that I had. It doesn't work anymore. Like, you can see how I'm out of alignment and out of harmony with that. And now I'm feeling called to adjust. And so I'm in this period in my business where I'm adjusting and refining and dismantling and changing. And I'm working through that energetically. And consequently, I haven't been launching things the way I usually launch. I haven't launched anything since the beginning of June, in fact. I was launching strategic, which is amazing. And I love my clients in that mastermind. And I can't wait to see where they're all heading. And we've been celebrating some amazing wins. And it's been a beautiful space. But I haven't launched anything since then. And that is unusual for me. So in the last month, the podcast came out. That was a small launch for me, but generally I was doing program launches once a month, and I haven't launched anything. Why? because energetically, I did not have the capacity. Energetically, I did not have the capacity to launch anything right now and to be in the vibe and the experience that I want to bring for that launch. So for me, it was very clear that right now, energetically, my healing comes first. And I've been fighting that. My ego has been fighting that. But that is a big thing for me, right? So here I am teaching you about launches, making them a vibe, making them easy, the content strategy. And now I'm saying to you that your energy is so important. So one of the questions that I asked, if you did download the vibe checklist, and one of the things I spoke about your vision is also getting clear of, when do you want to launch something? And is there anything in your life that might be getting in the way, right? And sometimes something has happened and we have to postpone our launches. Sometimes we experience something in life and we have to make an adjustment. But for me, I realized that what I'm carrying personally right now, and I'm moving through it with as much grace and compassion as I possibly can, it requires my attention. It requires my attention there. And while I'm having my attention on my personal life, and while I'm having my attention on my healing and surrendering to that, which is a process in itself, and having a lot of breakdowns and breakthroughs on what seems like a daily basis, it's also opened up this opportunity for me to really relook at how I've set up my business and what I want to change. And launches are still going to be a part of it because I love launching and I love teaching it. But it's really helped me see the importance of the capacity that we have as coaches, as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, as a personal brand, as being the face of your brand. So it's given me so much to think about in terms of scaling, even in terms of getting your business to 6 figures. And I know it's going to have a really positive ripple effect on all of the clients in my world, of the community that are in my world, and the changes that I'm going to be making to my business, to my programs, to the way I deliver things are tremendous. Because what I'm doing is I'm taking on pieces that for me are really natural to do. Like, I'm going to start strategizing for you. I'm going to put my CEO hat on and I will create for my one-to-one clients an entire plan and success map on how to get them to achieve the goals that they want to achieve, while also then over 5 months we work together and I give them the energetic support, the spiritual support, where we can really find the safety and security through our faith, through really building trust within ourselves, loving ourselves more, standing in our worth, because that gives us a lot of safety and security, while providing the pieces that are really vital, the strategy that can be the support. So we're not in the questioning energy, so we're in clean energy, whether that is for launches, which is what I either teach you if you're launched, that I create for you if you're in my VIP offer, or you get the whole shebanger if you are a one-to-one private client of mine. And then it opens up for you the capacity, instead of learning all of these pieces, to actually being able to receive the strategies that are designed for you, with you in mind, based on your values, based on your preferences, based on your unique abilities and strengths. You're given it, right? So you don't have to spend the energy and time learning and implementing it on your own, or even working through it on your own. I'm creating for you, and then we dance together in an energetic exchange to make sure that the integration and implementation feels really good and allows you to always have the capacity to be able to deliver your promise, the capacity to be able to live your life the way you want, the capacity to be able to serve the way you want, whether that's serving your community, whether that's serving yourself, whether that's serving your clients, the ability to be able to show up in a complete vibe for your launches, to really have the experience to create and to really live the way you ultimately desire to live, feeling the way you want to do. This is why your energy matters. Because honestly, If you don't have the energy, if you are constantly worried, if you're forcing and trying to make it happen, if you're pushing outcomes, you're always going to be in an uphill battle. And we can feel it on the other side of it. And you will start to resent the way you do in your business, and cracks will open, and eventually it's not going to work. And it's the same with your launch process. You can't force a launch. You can't force a launch. If you do, you're going to end up burned out, tired, and you'll be frustrated with your results. We can't force outcomes. We have to figure out a way that allows us to really honor our energy and capacity. And I've known this for so long. I've wrote an entire book on bouncing back from burnout. That was what Achieve with Grace was all about. I've been there, and I never want to be there again. We get to experience growth with ease and grace, and we get to prioritize our energy. And for me, the biggest commodity is my energy, then it is my time, and then it is money. So what's the most important commodity for you? And if you're wanting to scale, if you're wanting to get to 6 figures and beyond, then I highly recommend you make your energy a priority too. This is a wrap for another episode of Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. I'm so excited to start having guests that are coming on this pod. I can't wait to keep having this conversation with you and dive into a more vulnerable conversations around me building my business to escape my life. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. I love you all so much. I hope that you're well. And if this resonates, never be shy to come and send me a DM on my Instagram at Theresa Lambert Coaching. I'd love to know what's coming up for you. I'm sending all the love. Take care, and I will talk with you soon.